Like it's a normal relationship and not accelerated in this way too. I mean, Clara, this clearly worked for you two here. You're even planning a vow renewal and a full ceremony with more of your friends and family, which I love that idea. But without
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. We're talking to you guys about Ryan and Clara. We're dealing with the fact that they've gone from vow renewal to now divorcing within a month. But not long before this, we just about got Ryan to say I love you. So there's a couple things that we just need to discuss in this coming video. We're going to discuss obviously them pending divorce. We don't take any glory in this or any excitement from this, you know, to see that a couple has broken up or divorced. I don't think there's much we can get excited about in this, because this is a breakdown of a relationship between two people who took a risk, jumped out there, and decided to get married at first sight. I think one of the difficult things about this show, especially in a Western society, is that freedom given by the Western society in terms of how we choose partners makes it very difficult to take away someone's freedom when they are put together with a partner. It works in the Middle East. It works even in Africa at times, because we understand the dynamics of social interactions and how we are benefited by our social environment. What I mean by that is your culture gives you reward and bonus points for making it work in an arranged situation. So you might be in let's say Africa, and you know you're used to parents choosing a partner for you. You're used to not having that voice in that area, so it's not a fight for you. But when you've been given freedom to choose who you love, and then you get given a scenario where you're being told who to love, then we have a problem. Especially with men, when it comes to men choosing women based on physical attraction, it's evident that here, especially when you're given freedom, men struggle to have their power removed from them in the choice of the woman that they want to be in when they don't find that woman attractive. Whereas women are more likely to try and grow in their attractions. But that's a quick summary of the beginning of the show. Listen, before we go anywhere, if you're new to this channel, we break stuff down. Like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of what uploads. For those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Listen, stay hydrated. Why? Because the streets are hot. Listen, and the streets are really hot. Get your bottles all down below. Stay hydrated, okay? All right, because the streets be hot. I need to start doing my own advertising in the middle of the show. I'm going to start doing it. We'll try today. All right, cool. So I want to read a bit of the Instagram post here. Let me see if I can increase this, read this for you guys as well. So this was Claire's Instagram. This was only about 14 hours ago, in the early hours of the morning. If you guys haven't watched also... maybe you guys haven't watched also, let me just put this away. Maybe you guys haven't watched also the interview with Mrs. Kev on stage, which again was another great interview. It shed a lot of light on their situations, about how they crafted their own narrative and storylines especially when it came around being physically intimate. And I think go and watch that, because I think there's some great stuff that I spoke about in that as a contributing factor to where they are now. Okay, let's read Claire Aubrey's particular point here. She says, after taking some time away from cameras, we have reached that point in our marriage where we know it's better to go our separate ways. It's not an easy decision to make, nor do we take these next, I think that's right, nor do we take, sorry, the English got me there, nor do we take these next steps lightly. Grateful to all who stood by us and continue to stand by us as we make this very difficult decision. It goes without saying, we remain friends and hope for nothing but the best for each other. Okay, so the next slide that we have here says, for obvious reasons, I'll be taking a break from social media for a bit to focus on myself. Thank you to my family and my friends who have been so supportive, and please forgive me if it takes me a while to return messages for a while. Now, I want to kind of go into Ryan Aubrey if I can. I mean, to be honest, it looks like it's been coming, because like the photos of her and Ryan are not there. I don't know if they actually ever had photos of them two together, to be honest. But I guess obviously after being on Married at First Sight, I kind of expected that they'd have photos on there. Well, it seems like the photos have not been on there for a little while, so it's probably been coming as well. Does she even follow Ryan still? Let me see if I can click onto Ryan from here. Oh, they don't even follow each other anymore. Okay. It looks like they don't follow each other as well, which is interesting. Because I know when you break up, obviously it's not easy to kind of go with. But let me just try and see Ryan Oubre. Let's see Ryan Oubre. Cool. All right, Ryan Oubre. Yeah, he's put this on here. Let's see if there's any photos of himself and Clara. There's no photos of him and Clara at all. So this looks like it was something that's been coming for a little while, I guess. Is he following her? No, because I'm following them both. So yeah, let's have a look. No, it doesn't look like they're following each other at all. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're following each other at all. Oh, it's tricky. Okay, cool. So he also put it up as well. I think he put up basically the same message. After taking some time away from the cameras, we have reached that point in our marriage where we know it's better to go our separate ways. It's not an easy decision to make, nor do we take these next steps lightly. Grateful for all who stood beside us and continue to stand by us as we make this very difficult decision. It goes without saying, we remain friends and hope for nothing but the best for each other. Now, what's really interesting, obviously, is after taking some time away from the cameras. Now, that was something that I pointed out about the show, but I also pointed out about their relationship, because it seemed like, I put this in my other video, that they bonded over this particular common enemy, which was the cameras. The cameras became something that they wanted to try and get one over. Okay, and this is really interesting because they've broken up and divorced only a month after doing this interview here. Right?
Cameras, of course. So what advice do you have for someone who is out there looking for love and maybe watching this show with some hope?
So it's only been a month since that particular press release, June last month. And it's only been a few months since obviously they finished the show as well. But I said this before when we did the reunion and we talked about it. I said, the mere fact that he took so long to say I love you until the show reunion was enough for me to say he's not committed like that. Now, he may have a different perspective, but I'm only going on by what we see. Let me put that disclaimer again. We're only going on by what we see. We don't see everything. We're not God, but we are going to be giving our perspective. And we don't see everything, but you told her you love her under duress. I had to ask you this question under duress before you finally gave an answer under duress. Like, you don't have to like when my I had an ex and she asked me, how do you feel about me? I said, yeah, I care about you. I love you. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna. You don't have to force me to say this word, I love you. You know what I'm saying? And that whole issue being made about the I love you and not saying love you was a big thing on the show. So there was some level of truth in terms of what they showed us in terms of seemingly his inability to be tentative in such ways, right? He admitted on the interview with Mrs. Kev on stage about how he needs to do better on the physical affection because that's what Clara needed. And so for me, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, I hear you, but the truth of the matter is this breakdown was coming before here. It didn't break down this month. The cameras being taken away didn't break you guys down. Okay, the cameras are only a heightened sense of what you're experiencing, but they're not the contributing factor to why you break down. Because honestly and truthfully, once two people have commonality interpersonally, they have a great foundation, right? And they bond together on how they want to move forward, and they see a future with each other going forward. Then the cameras can't stop us, baby. The cameras can be an intrusion, but it can't stop us, baby. So when I watched the interview with Miss Kevin on stage, again, shout out to The Bold and the Beautiful, where they had an interview with them. It was interesting that he made a point about the fact that, they tried to form certain narratives. They tried to they didn't tell us they were having sex the whole entire time. So they were having sex the whole entire time, but let us feel like they weren't having sex. Why do that? Right? Why do that? You know what I mean? How is that going to contribute towards a positive relationship? Why do that? Okay? And that speaks to elements of control, trying to control the narrative, but in doing so, when you control so tight, sometimes, if not often, you end up losing control because you're trying to hold everything in tension and in place, and there's just no need to do that. There's no need to do that at all. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting, you know. I'm not trying to get nobody's neck or anything like that. I just think to myself that, you know, watching these two, it's unfortunate to come to this end. I want to just kind of play a little bit of a last clip and discuss it as well. It was on the show. Okay, here we go.
Really think that in the end that you would find love and find a wife like this?
I did. I really did. Probably something that I've learned, maybe I've known about myself, but, you know, going through this process is, it does take me a second to trust. And that could have.
So he talks about obviously taking him a second to trust. Actually, wasn't the clip I was going to go for, but hey ho, we're here. Talking about the fact that it takes him a minute or two to trust. And listen, I'm not trying to rush somebody's process. They're 8 weeks on a show. Here's the thing though, those 8 weeks aren't our normal 8 weeks. They spend every waking minute with that person. So those 8 weeks that they're having is an intense 8 weeks. What you're getting in 8 weeks is what you're calling 8 weeks, they're calling, it feels like maybe half a year or something, because the amount of time that they spend together, whether it's on camera or off camera, the amount of time they spend together, and you can't fake chemistry, you can't fake the funk, you can't fake all that stuff. When we saw Woody and Amani. Okay, I'm you know, when you saw Woody and Amani, you saw a couple who genuinely loved each other. So much so that the cameras tried to create, to instigate beef, and we still didn't believe it. Like, you saw my reviews. I was like, yeah, they've been on the beef, but we didn't believe it. Not because they won't have problems, but because the chemistry, the conversation, the way they spoke to each other, you could tell. Right? You could tell. So it's like when we see Clara and Ryan, we saw it from the very beginning. I was like, it was bound to happen. I don't think anybody's surprised. But what we are surprised by is the fact that we're doing press conferences, which I guess is part of the contract. Maybe not, is not even their choice, right? And I think it's part of the contract because maybe as well they're getting pushed a lot as well because maybe they're interracial couple. I don't know, but they're getting pushed a lot to do these interviews. And then for now, to go from planning your own vow renewal to now on the ropes where you're about to get, you're going through divorce proceedings or separation at least, you know, it hurts, right? But it didn't start this last month. It started at the beginning when they were on the show, okay? So that's why I said about, listen, you can't lie. You can lie to us and try to pretend, but the truth of the matter is, you know you. I didn't understand why you would pretend as if you weren't having sex. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you the clip. If you haven't watched my other video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you the other video. Shout out again, Mrs. Kev on stage again. Because I think it was really, you know, a great interview as well. Really got into the crux. I'm just trying to find the seconds of the time when it happened. I've already broken this video down, so I don't want to go through it again. But just listen to this clip here, yeah?
I wanted, so the only thing that I wanted in this world was to take care of her through this process, because I saw how tough and how draining this was and how it was wearing on both of us, because it is an experience in itself for a relationship to go through that. It really just is an experience. And so a hot button item for us was sex the entire time. I'm going to give you guys a spoiler alert. Like, we had been having sex the entire time.
Shut up!
But
now your voice is strong.
But
shut up, Ryan. Nope, you shut up right now. Saying words to me.
But to sit there and protect our relationship, it almost felt like at times the camera was being weaponized because we didn't necessarily want to sit there and entertain those conversations over and over and over again.
And that's what I'm talking about, the control aspect, because he understood. Listen, I'm sure more people on the show will complain about the weaponization of the cameras. We saw that with I think it was a couple of seasons, Taylor and Brandon. We saw that with Michael Mecca. We've seen it with also was it, I can't remember his name. I think it was a couple of seasons ago where he got angry at the actual production and said, "I'm not answering these questions." When people are used to being in control and then they feel like they're being taken out of control, there's a reaction. There's going to be a reaction, right? This is why I say that people understand the context of the environment that they're in and they respond accordingly because of that, due to the type of person that you are. If it's me, I'm gonna enjoy the cameras, bro. I like camera. Me and camera get along, yeah. But my partner may not be able to, and therefore we're gonna have to have a conversation about how do I protect you as best as possible, which is where Ryan was coming from. I just felt like lying was never gonna add to that. You say you weren't having sex was not going to add to that, right? Just because you didn't want to answer a question about whether you guys are having sex or not. But hey ho. Listen, I'm going to leave it there. Let us know your thoughts down below. It's unfortunate that Ryan and Clara are reaching this point. They haven't finished yet. They haven't divorced yet. They're at separation. There's still hope. Hopefully they'll get a good mediator and be able to recover the situation, actually have some breaking down of walls. And you know what? It's interesting because we mentioned a lot of this stuff on the show about Ryan wanting to control the narrative. We spoke about Clara and the emotional deficiencies and the pains and the wounds that have not been healed as of yet that are going to contribute towards the downfall of this relationship. If it goes that way, and you know, unfortunately we're here. You know what I mean? So, guys, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We do wish Ryan and Clara some grace in these moments and some love in these moments because they're never easy to go through. Hey, don't forget as well, guys, listen, grab your bottle down below. Stay hydrated. It's because the streets are hot. Grab your water bottle. Always stay hydrated, okay? Because it's hot on them streets. You don't want to be without your water, okay? Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We will see you soon.